Alright guys, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at the first injury report going into this week. Obviously, we're going to find out more information after today's process. We'll have an updated video tomorrow on the injury report after today's process. But kind of the information going into this week, we have, of course, all the players listed here except for Cam Taylor-Britt. Cam Taylor-Britt got hurt in the last week's game. Based on what I understand, he should be okay. He's day-to-day at this moment in time. So he will probably play for a Pittsburgh game upcoming. Now, we haven't got much information on the context of Sam Hubbard or T. Higgins from Zach Taylor. Based on what we understand and based on what he has said, pretty much is that they're progressing, and that's pretty much it. So they are both questionable for this upcoming game versus Pittsburgh on Sunday. My guess is they will not play on Sunday. That would be my initial guess. Again, just based on the fact that they were still considered week to week last week, so I don't think they're going to be considered week to week and then bam, suddenly play. Now, Trey Hendrickson was considered day to day, and then he ended up playing last week, looking perfectly fine, like nothing happened. So, is it possible they have a crazy advancement in that aspect and they, able to play? Absolutely. But I don't think they're going to rush him back in any way possible. I will say also, how to look at it is like this, right? T wants to win. He does. T wants to help out this team win the Super Bowl. But with Joe Burrow out, and him on a contract year, and him wanting to be healthy for next year in case he leaves us and gets paid, I wouldn't be surprised if T doesn't want to come back. I would not be surprised in any way possible. Now, if he's healthy, he's going to come back, right? That's just a fact of facts. But if he's not healthy, I think he's going to take as much time as he needs, and he's not going to risk anything. Because, well, yes, you might say, well, doesn't he want to put up the craziest stat line possible before he goes and gets a contract? Kinda, but kinda not, man. At the end of the day, you got to keep in mind that he doesn't have Joe Burrow throwing him the football anymore. He has Jake Browning. So it's very possible that he simply just doesn't have that crazy great of a year with Jake Browning. So at this point, it's probably better for him to make sure he's healthy and okay and ready to go, rather than trying to focus strictly on getting back and playing for a team who, again, might not re-sign him. So at the end of the day, that is more of a business aspect of football that, is just real life. I obviously would love to say, yeah, T's going to come back and play 1,000% and want to play every single game. But at the end of the day, this is real life, right? We're going to talk realistic here, and T might look at it in the aspect of that. Now, of course, it's very possible T says, you know what, F that. I want to come back. I want to play for my teammates. And it's very possible he does. So again, if he does do that, then that's amazing. And we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Sam Hubbard, though, he wants to get back as soon as possible because he, not on contract year. He's going to be on the team for the next couple years. So he still has that ankle injury. We're still waiting to see how this works. But again, we haven't got much update on those two guys. We do know that Yoshi is back, and Yoshi will be playing versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we do get one receiver at least back for the Steelers game. Again, it's not going to be T. Higgins most likely, but it will be Yoshi. So we'll at least have someone back in there because we already know that the Bengals do not utilize Chuck Sizzle in any way possible. What did Chuck Sizzle do to the Bengals, man? There's something we're missing here. We're missing the context because holy crap, do they not want to use Chuck Sizzle in offense? In better news, Chase Brown is expected to return in Week 12 off the IR. Keep in mind, it does not mean that he's going to play in Week 12. So that's a huge thing here. Just because he is, taken off the IR, I think he has to clear like a certain amount of days, and he also had to practice in order to play. This is why we saw Chuck Sizzle, even though he was taken off the IR in week 10, he did not play until week 11. So it's very possible that Chase Brown is not active for his upcoming game versus Pittsburgh, but he could be very active for the game after that. So just keep that in mind that, again, Chase Brown is back. We'll have to see how, he gets utilized. Before his injury, before he went down with his hamstring, all the coaches pretty much were saying how much more he's going to get utilized. How much more we're going to use him in this offense and see what we can, get out of him. And again, they drafted him with a 5th-round draft pick. He was the guy who was supposed to be the backup, replacement here for Samaje Perine. So we're going to see what they utilize, how much they utilize him moving forward. Throughout the season so far, they really haven't utilized him at all. The guy hadn't gotten any snaps. I think total in the season, I want to say maybe 6 or 7 snaps period. So we're going to see what they do with him moving forward. But at this moment in time, it's kind of going to be interesting. Now, I will say it like this. For Chase Brown, which usually you can't say this in these situations, but you can for this situation, is that no running back has really, taken over as RB2. Like, RB2 right now, the job for RB2 is up in the air. It's completely up in the air. There's no one who really solidifies has the job. Chris Evans hasn't been utilized at all, and Travion Williams has been the immediate backup, but even then, Travion hasn't done anything special or crazy. So if Chase Brown goes in there and he plays even somewhat productive, he's going to get this job easily. So this is not many times in NFL history that we can say a running back who was a 5th-round draft pick, drafted to be the RB2, misses 12 weeks of the season pretty much, because other than the injury, he hasn't been utilized. And now he has a chance to still get that RB2 role. And he does. And if he comes back and he plays good the remainder of the season, the last 6 games, he could easily be RB2 going into next year. And, that could obviously help out this offense immensely. So, we're going to see how much they utilize him. My guess is they're going to probably give him a limited snap count their first couple weeks that he's back, just because of the hamstring injury. They don't want to re-injure it. They don't want any further problems down the line. But once he's ready to go 100%, they're going to utilize this man. And now with our season not over, but kind of in the, shambles, there's no reason not to, right? There's no reason at this point not to try things. Because while before you might be like, hey, listen, we want to play not to lose. We want to play smart. We want to play, kind of like, not risky at all because we're trying to make the playoffs. We're trying to win the Super Bowl. Now we're in limbo. We're 5-5. We're not going to lose out, right? So we're not going to tank. If that's the case, then we're not really going for a top draft pick. So now all we're truly doing here is trying to elevate our roster and figure out our roster. So we're trying to figure out, okay, is Chuck Sizzle the receiver who can replace Tyler Boyd? Is Yoshi the guy who can replace T. Higgins? Is Chase Brown the guy that can replace Samaje Perine in the end here for RB number 2? Obviously, Samaje's gone, but can he be the guy who replaced him? Or is it going to be Travion Williams, right? So the rest of these games, the last 6 games of the season, really what we're doing now is figuring it out. Like, okay, what do we need to draft? And depending on the last 6 games of the season, is going to depend on where we are going to draft in this next draft, who we're going to select, and at what position. Because right now, I promise you this, there's not one single guarantee for any position in the NFL draft this upcoming season. There's not one single player that the Bengals are like, we're going to take right tackle round 1. We're going to take this round 2, this round 3, this round 4, this round 5, this round 6. There is nothing guaranteeing what they're going to or not going to take. What's going to happen is the next 6 games, now that you're not really going for the Super Bowl as much, you're going to figure it out. So it's going to be actually, I'll be honest here, I expect our offense to be more open and be more electrifying over these next 6 games than we have seen over the last 11 games. Because now it's evaluation time. We're still going to try to win, but we're also going to try to evaluate what we have and who could be the best players for this team. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next one.